Last week saw the closing of Disney's world-famous Splash Mountain, and I was there. Let's talk about it. On November 12th, 1946, Disney released a, at the time, cartoon favorite called Song of the South. This movie featured a cartoon rabbit, and a cartoon bear, and a cartoon fox, and a lot of real-life slaves. Needless to say, this is perhaps one of the most controversial things Disney has ever done. One of. And therefore, today, in 2023, you would be hard-pressed to find a copy of Song of the South in its original condition for you to watch. It's been buried by the sands of time. I'm sure if you asked Disney, they would tell you, we don't know what that is. It is, however, worth pointing out that despite the social and racial implications found in this movie, it is an important piece of animation history, and you can still see its fingerprints on things happening today, like Who Killed Roger Rabbit, and even last year's Disney Plus Chip and Dale film. Now, although Song of the South has been removed by Disney from circulation almost entirely, it still was a relevant piece of the Disney catalog for decades, which is why in 1989, Disney World opened Splash Mountain.
I was told that we could be the first to ride Splash Mountain, and we're ready to go.
Well, it's not open yet. I'm sorry.
And I will point out here that Splash Mountain is not called Song of the South the ride. If you went in today not knowing that Splash Mountain was a film, you would think that it was original IP made specifically for the park. Just like Pirates of the Caribbean, It's a Small World, The Haunted Mansion, the list goes on. And this ride was absolutely a Disney theme park's favorite. Full of singing critters talking about how great the South was, and I guess in that way it was similar to Song of the South. There was no mention of slavery or any real racial issue. In fact, theme park fans remember it most fondly for how the fox is going to marry Ryan's dad and the big cool drop at the end. But you can't deny that the origin of Brer Rabbit and Brer Bear and even Brer Fox do come from a movie where slaves sing about how it's just fine that they're being whipped all day, they don't mind. And that's dark.
After 31 years, riders took their final splashdown before it closed for good on Sunday, with some waiting nearly 4 hours at the height of the day.
And so in January 2023, Splash Mountain is finally closing and being reskinned as Tiana's Bayou Adventure, a ride connected to The Princess and the Frog. And in all fairness, I did start this video by talking about the artistic significance of Song of the South, so let's do the same for Princess and the Frog. I love this movie. I really do. The music is great, the characters are memorable, and I think it is an underrated Disney film. Not to mention the sadness that goes along with it being the final and last 2D animated Disney movie. I still can't believe that, and it's been 10 years. I miss this. Reject the modern era, embrace tradition, give me more of this. And now I do think that this is as good a time as any to make my opinions known. I am not the group that is affected by Splash Mountain or Song of the South. I'm not qualified to talk about it. I cannot truly understand how Splash Mountain makes a different race feel. This is not a video about whether or not Splash Mountain should have shut down, so we're not going to talk about that. We're just going to talk about what it was like on the last day there and how it has somehow become more controversial now than it ever was before.
It is the last day to ride Splash Mountain. It is closing officially tomorrow, but we will miss the fox.
So January 22nd was the final date that you could go to Disney World, get on Splash Mountain, and ride the ride in its original state. Now my wife Brittany and I are Disney annual pass holders, making it very easy for us to do a quick trip to Disney World. And that's what we did here. 24 hours down in Florida to ride Splash Mountain one last time and take it all in. We left our home in Long Island, New York, and headed to MacArthur Airport to board a Frontier flight. And that's right, I'm not a snob, I will fly Frontier. Is it annoying that the seats won't go back? Yes. Is it incredibly uncomfortable? Absolutely. But you get what you pay for, and a Frontier flight this time was $25 round trip. You can't beat that. Sure, the plane almost fell out of the sky, but you know, my wallet likes it. Now, upon arriving in Florida, we had one objective. get to Magic Kingdom, head to Frontierland, and get on Splash Mountain before the park closed, which sounds easy because we landed around 11 a.m., which leaves you 12 hours, but there have been a lot of changes at Disney. Thanks, Bob Chapek. You used to have a shuttle called the Magical Express, which would pick you up at the Orlando airport and drive you to your hotel. Not anymore. Which means that you are left to find yourself in Uber. Again, I flew Frontier. I'm not looking to pay over $30 for an Uber, which is about the price that it is to go from the Orlando airport all the way to anywhere in Walt Disney World, hotel, park, or otherwise. So I found an Uber for $21. We headed to Disney's All-Star Music Resort, which was the cheapest one for the single night that we were there, and waited in a line of people to check into our room. Of course, this room was not ready because why would it be? Nothing can be easy. So we dropped our bags at the bell stand, which was another line to wait in of about 10 people. After dropping our bags at the bell stand, we waited in line for the bus from the hotel to Magic Kingdom, which naturally left 2 minutes before we got in line. But this did give us time to contemplate the finality of it all.
We're a sucker for nostalgic Disney. His funeral.
My wife and I have been going to Disney World ever since we started dating. As park goers, we do have a lot of happy memories riding Splash Mountain, just like we do with any of the other rides. We got in the line with a wait time posted of 140 minutes, so about 2 hours, and we set our timer to see how accurate that would be. For some reason, the ride was moving more efficiently than I've ever seen it move before. I barely had time to ask cool Splash Mountain trivia to my wife.
What are the words to the song that nobody knows the words to?
Oh, how do you do? Mighty pleasant dream. Oh, how are you? Say really something.
Really good shoes you want.
I will say that waiting on this line is actually one of my favorite Disney World experiences that I've ever had. There was something about the energy. Everybody was so excited to be part of the final ride for Splash Mountain. There was definitely some sadness from the theme park goers, but all of us were experiencing this together.
Walking up, you heard all the people go like, this is so sad.
It is.
I was like, it is sad. And we're all having sad together.
But after all, waiting is not what we had made the trip to do. And so I was elated when we finally got on the ride after less than half of the posted wait time. I almost feel like it was only 2 hours to discourage people from going on it. Maybe they were thinking we could start construction early. In fact, the line to get a pressed Splash Mountain penny was longer than the line for the ride. And of course, the ride was the best it's ever been. I know that the performers are animatronic robots, and so they aren't real. But it seemed like all of these robots were giving their all to give us one last goodbye before we went down the big drop. And while I was sitting there rooting for the fox to finally eat the rabbit, wanting the bear to get horribly maimed and harmed, or waiting to see the horrible stings on the bear from sticking his nose in this beehive, I just felt this big feeling of nostalgia come over me. As I thought of all the memories going on Splash, it's been a pretty significant part of Disney World, and Disney World has been a pretty significant part of my life. And so, as I went down the final drop, I forced myself to keep my eyes open just for that one last memory of Splash Mountain. It looked like that. And this experience was good enough for me, and I'm happy to let it go now and see what this new ride from Princess and the Frog has to offer. But it seems like not everybody agrees with me. Step into my classroom, please. All right, I would like to point out that for the next segment, we will be talking about two groups of people who historically are not great at dealing with emotions or recognizing facts. And that would be hardcore Disney fans whose personalities are based entirely around Disney, and I'm not judging, and people who post on Facebook. Again, I'm not judging. But surely people can understand that Splash Mountain closing is a complicated issue. And the most important thing to remember is not to overreact or post passive-aggressively about it, because it's not helping anything when you do that, especially on Facebook. Well, you would think so, but I love that not even 2 minutes after I went on the ride, the first post that I saw when I came out was this one: is the world somehow a better place without a fictional cartoon ride at Disney World? And this is the question of the day. I can't give you an unbiased answer because the question is very leading. Also, the ride is not fictional. And timeout. Hey everybody, it's me, the guy that you've been watching literally the whole time. Hope everybody's doing okay. I'm mostly good, except that I just realized a big chunk of my footage for this segment actually got deleted. Now I could just go on and not use that material, but then I really wouldn't cover what's going on with Splash Mountain. So during this classroom segment, I also talked about a passive-aggressive post made by SeaWorld about the closing of Splash, which was this one that says, "Just splashing by. No thank you, SeaWorld. Even if they never opened another log flume ride at Disney, I would not resort to going to SeaWorld to get a similar experience. I will never go to SeaWorld again." Then I did address the other big happening, people selling the water from the ride. And now I've heard of this. When they tore down Shea Stadium, people sold bricks from that. And I could even see buying water from Splash Mountain. Not that I would ever do it, but people collect strange things. So I could see somebody seeing on eBay Splash Mountain water for like $10 and buying it. But some of the prices that people are charging for Splash Mountain water are really high. Then I talked about a member of the Facebook group that I'm in posting this, talking about how upset he was that he got ripped off because he tried his $50 Splash Mountain water and it tasted the same as the stuff that came out of his sink. If we've learned anything from buying collector's item water on the internet, don't drink it, especially if you think that it's from a theme park ride. You're lucky that it wasn't. I hope it was a joke, but also seeing some of these other Facebook posts, I don't know, because then I talked about this Facebook post from a member of a Disney Facebook group that I'm in. Dee starts her comment by saying, "To the board of directors, who I'm sure are reading your Disney Facebook group, leave Splash Mountain alone and release the movie Song of the South and let people decide for themselves if it's racist." So pretty common for somebody to think that Splash Mountain is not racist. I've seen this opinion a lot while making this video, but I've yet to see somebody contend that Song of the South is completely unproblematic. I also love that Dee's reaction to Splash being closed is that Disney executives should just open it back up and slap the movie back in movie theaters, guys. Let's go. There could be no downside to that. And I'll throw it back to the classroom for how the people responded to this in this comment thread. I did appreciate people coming in and making a good point on this thread though. Disney, although can be enjoyed by people of all ages, their predominant goal is to entertain families with children. Although I'm not saying kids can't like Splash Mountain, it's not gonna mean as much to them because they don't have a connection with a movie that has been removed from circulation way before they were even born. Now what Dee says to this, don't let new people decide what's racist. Don't leave it up to new people. This is a classic. But I'm not even gonna get into that statement. I just love that this person is so detached from other human beings that the term she uses to describe children is new people, like they're being manufactured like robots. So maybe Dee is not the best judge of what should happen with Splash Mountain or anything culturally. And this brings me to my main point. It's not worth all the kicking and screaming. I understand having your opinion. I have my opinion. But at the end of the day, Disney's opinion is we want to make money. We want to sell theme park tickets. And the more controversy surrounding one of our main staple rides, the less theme park tickets we're going to sell. And that is just a fact. And so yes, it is okay to have fond memories of Splash Mountain, but I think it's also okay and important to understand that things change and organizations evolve. And Disney is an organization that has been here long before I was even born and will be here long after I was dead. And if all of the rides and things at Disney were exactly the same as when they opened on opening day, you wouldn't go there. There have been plenty of rides that have closed at Disney that I wish would come back. The Great Movie Ride, for instance. But I love Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Rail. It's okay to be nostalgic, but remember that new things can be cool and can be fun as well. Now folks, that's just what I make of this. And if you want to hear what I think about pretty much anything else, from movies to pop culture to food, I do it all here, or at least I try to. And that's made possible by you subscribing and liking these videos so that YouTube shows them to you more times. Thank you everybody for watching. I've been Oliver the Ricketts, theme park genius, and RIP Splash Mountain. Thanks for the memories. reject modernity, kill you and shatter your bones? I'll never know because I can never get back on and I didn't catch it this time. And so I can't, that f***ing ice machine.
I need a haircut.
Oh, Princess and the Frog. Fraga.
Gee, this gift shop's looking pretty bare, wouldn't you say?
Yes, I would say.